5 years ago, my mama said that this Popeye looks gay. And every time I wear it, I'm self-conscious now. It's kind of with the show. And welcome to the Geeks, Flicks, and Just a Podcast YouTube channel. This is a show called What You Doing, where we talk about what we watch and play during the week. I am your host, Enterprises, and I'm by myself today. No Ghost Felix, no Ghost Bubbles. I haven't summoned them. I haven't conjured them up this week. So y'all got me all by myself. And because I'm by myself, let's start off with my favorite part, the Murder Corner. Hell yeah, son. I only watched one thing. It's an old thing. I forget when it started. I think it's from 2017. I didn't write it down. But I found it on Netflix. It's called Real Detective, not to be confused with True Detective, which is a very dope HBO series. Well, one season is very dope. Second season I heard was garbage, and the second season I heard it was so bad that it didn't want to make me want to watch the third season. But the first season of True Detective is very, 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 very dope. Probably best seasons of anything ever out there. Probably top 10 all time. Probably, maybe. This is Real Detective. This is on Netflix. This is half documentary, half dramatization. But there's lines and actors and scenes in the dramatization. It's not like blurry scenes or stuff like that. It's like it feels like a legit show with script and everything. The pacing is half and half. So what happens is we are going through these detectives' worst cases, the worst thing that they've ever experienced, the thing that changed their lives, etc., etc. So we're basically reliving their worst case that has ever happened in their career. It's 2 seasons, 8 episodes each. Shout outs to Netflix for being dumb and not knowing that I've never seen this. And when I clicked to start to watch it, it started me on the second season. Has anything happened to y'all? Like you're looking at a show, and then you're like, yeah, I'll watch it, and then you press play, and it starts you on the second season. I didn't realize until I was done that fucking Netflix showed me the second season first. Hashtag what the fuck Netflix. Anyway, so I watched the second season first. Each episode is a different case, is a different detective. The cases are pretty different, but I think 98% of them are crazy fucks and dudes. I think there might have been one or two ladies that are like the fuck shit up. But we get like the first episode is an abducted baby and the daddy owed money, and then there's like things of another woman, and it starts to get juicy. Like the first episode was getting juicy. I was like, what? Okay, I'll give this another chance. And then the second episode is the Riverside Killer. That's a famous killer down here in California. It's a serial murderer. He was toying with the detective, sending messages and shit. It was 2 detectives. Oh no, this was one. I'm confused. He was sending messages through other murders and like setting them up, making them look similar. But this one stood out to me because if you know anything about this Riverside Killer, is that in one of the victims, there was an intact light bulb up their booty hole. So it didn't shatter. So it was intact. They did x-rays and there's a light bulb inside a booty hole. What's pretty cool about the show is that when the episode ends, it closes, like the outro is pictures of the detectives on that time. Sometimes they'll show people that are involved with it. Sometimes they don't. But during the episode, they show like fake pictures of the actors. Like I said, there's actors running around, and it's kind of mamon. It's kind of cheesy when you see like, oh, she was a lovely girl, and it's the actress going like, it's weird. It doesn't feel authentic. I didn't like that one. There's another episode where the lady, one of the ladies, is running around with the detective, and she got honey dipped, or whatever the fuck you call it. She was like falling in love with the guy and trying to steer him away from the path. This, I think it's episode 5 in the second season. This one felt like a movie. So it's 2 detectives, and only one is giving the interview. So right off the bat, you're like, what the hell? And it's about a guy got beaten to death, but he's moved. So I'm trying to figure out the cases, and I kind of went 7 for 10, I think, or 7 for 10 with the ones I was trying to guess. But 5th episode in the 2nd season, that one felt like a little movie. It was dramatic, and it was good. Yeah, there was one also about I'll call the victim like Harry Potter's, because it was about abusive parents who had her underneath the cupboard of stairs, kind of like Harry Potter. That's fucked up. Like, they're really terrible bad cases like this, and I'm just trying to figure out who did it. And it's nice to know in some cases they got them. There's some other cases that they don't get them. You're like, what the fuck? So that was the 2nd season. The 1st season, it's the same actors. So because I watched it retroactively, I was like, okay, I remember him. He's from the 2nd season. So they kind of repeated some actors, but all the actors are kind of unknown. I never seen them before. They might like I don't want to say cheap actors because I don't want to offend them. Fuck it, they're cheap actors. They're kind of, there's a hint of cheesiness, but once you fall into the show, you're like, okay, I get it, I understand. But in episode 4 of the 1st season, we get Michael Madsen. He plays Bud in Kill Bill. He's Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs. He's in Species, etc. He plays Phil Ryan, Texas Ranger. So like I said, it's half documentary where they're acting, in half documentary, half dramatization, half documentary. And in this episode, the documentary part, they're interviewing Phil Ryan, and he looked familiar. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? It's because I talked about him already. He is a Texas Ranger that was involved with the Henry Lee Lucas case, the confession killer, the crazy fuck that was just confessing to over 600 murders. He was a Texas Ranger during that part. So we get hit this terrible story. He investigated the murder of a lady who was found in a lake. It's not that terrible compared to some of the other ones. Some are worse than others. But I remembered him, and Michael Madsen plays him. He's probably the best. He is the best actor that is featured in the show by far. He was good. It was good. But these cases, I think the newest one was around 2008 or 9. But some of them are old. And because they're so involved, there's so much going on. This is pre-DNA, so they couldn't just like grab McEels and be like, oh, test this, bruh. That's not how it worked, because there was no DNA. So they had to like old school try to figure out, retrace steps, y la verga. Like, it was a way more pain in the ass. After DNA, a whole bunch of people got caught because they kept everything. The last episode of the 1st season is also kind of like a movie. It was about a 10-year-old missing boy, and it was like this pedo guy, and in his house there was like these fucking columns of letters, and the detective had to decipher the code, and the code was saying everything he's done to all these other kids. It's fucked up. That was fucked up. They said every episode, it took like each case took a piece of the detective with them. So they still get so involved. They get consumed over finding this motherfucker. It consumes them. So props to every detective out there. And it's hard on the family. They have to, when they have to tell the person, yo, we found them and they're dead. They're floating on the lake or whatever the fuck. And you can't tell them like, oh yeah, there was a light bulb up her booty hole or whatever. It's a tough job. It's heartbreaking. But I think the last season was 2019. I didn't pull up the IMDb on it. I want to say it is, and I would like another season. It would be cool. I liked it. I enjoyed the show. I liked it very much. I ate the 2 seasons and during this week. So yeah, that was it for Murdercone. Okay. I'm ashamed of myself because this month it already flew by, Black History Month. And it wasn't until like this past week where I was like, I'm going to educate myself on some black people stuff. Because like I've said before, estúpido. All my history comes from Assassin's Creed. Everything I know that is from history is from Assassin's Creed. And Mexico shit, Niños Héroes, Benito Juárez, all that shit. Porfirio Díaz, all that shit. Miguel Hidalgo, Costilla, all that shit. What's the other fool? Little 50 pesos? Ese way también. I forgot his name. Yeah, that's all I know. Don't know what they did, but that's people. So we talked about this on the pod of the trailer for Amend the Fight for America. And this is hosted by Will Smith. And it's this look at the evolving, often lethal fight for the equal rights in America through the lens of the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment. So the whole show, which is 6 episodes, revolves around the 14th Amendment, what it is, what it actually is supposed to mean, etc., and it's breaking it down. I'm going to break down a couple episodes just to give you a hint as to what the hell without spoiling everything. But the first episode is citizenship, which is the right to have rights. The way that the shows break down is that you got Will Smith, kind of like the history of swear words, kind of where we cut back and forth between historians and him, kind of teaching you and explaining, making everything, breaking it down very simple. But between all that, there's very cool artwork. It's history, so we get historians. And the first episode talks about Frederick Douglass. He was escaping slavery from, I forget where, to New York City. Cut into Mahershala Ali. I don't want to say portraying or acting as him. He's more as a physical representation of him. So he doesn't have makeup, and it's Mahershala Ali with 2021 clothes, looking fucking dapper and fine as fuck, and he's portraying and speaking as if he was Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass, like I said, was a slave who escaped to New York City. He ran away. No one knew he was a slave. They're looking for him, and that's where this whole, we're talking about the 1800s, so there's obviously still slavery going around. He is very instrumental in the abolishment of slavery, and he would give speeches and he would question himself as why am I a slave, or talk with a room full of white people. He gave a speech on 4th of July where they were celebrating freedom, but he was saying, you're not celebrating my freedom, this is your freedom, my people are still slaves. So he was a pivotal part in the abolishment of slavery. Is that the right word? I don't know, I'm stupid. But Lincoln comes into the picture. If you know anything, if you know anything from Lincoln other than he's on the Five Dyers, he's the one that freed the slaves, right? But this comes at a different angle, and it gives you like kind of like the realty as to how he got to it. So his first idea, right, during all this thing, we got the Civil War going on. That's the South versus basically the rest of America, and Lincoln wanted to send all the slaves to Costa Rica. They're like, okay, we'll give you Costa Rica. They're like, wait, what? That's not fixing anything. You're just sending us away. That's not how this works, fool. So Frederick Douglass was a very a conciliere, if you will, to the Lincoln party, giving him advice, trying to explain to him his side. And Lincoln was cool. He was like, all right, I understand you. I got you, bro. They, in the Civil War, which was the South and the rest of the country, I forget what it's called. The Confederacy is the lower part, the Alabama, the Texas, and all that. That's where you see the Confederate flag. That's the flag that used to fly around. That's a whole nother mess. I'm doing a terrible job in explaining this, but stupido, so bear with me. Where was that? So Lincoln was running out of soldiers. So it was like, okay, what if we use the slaves as soldiers, and then we make them citizens, aka give them rights, aka give them freedom, amongst other things. And I was like, okay, yeah, that happens. Boom, boom. They win the war. Chingon, tight. Let's keep going, bruh. He gives a speech to all, I forget where he was at, but he's giving the speech to former Marines, black Marines, who he was giving citizenship to. I forget the name of the guy, Booth. That guy, he was in the audience when he was like, yeah, cool. He got killed 24 hours later. John Williams Booth, some shit like that. Again, I'm a stupido. I can't remember names. I wrote down Frederick Douglass for a reason. But all that's in the first episode of how they abolished slavery, how they got rid of slavery. The second episode is the resistance towards it. So it's like, yeah, you're not a slave anymore, but they start to do a lot of buts. How the 14th Amendment comes in is because in the 14th Amendment, it says we are all equal players on the same team. That's kind of what it means. But they're going down history, pointing out how it really and still isn't really like that yet. You know what I mean? Which is so fucking stupid, man. Just color your skin. I don't understand that. Anyway, in the second episode, we they're seeking true equality. So this is where you see the segregation, where you would see like everything split into black and white. You see the creation of the KKK, all that other shit. It's history. It sounds boring, but the way they break it down with actors, not only Mahershala Ali's in here, this thing is jam-packed with actors. Where they at? I lost them. So yeah, there's 6 episodes. It's just too many to remember. It was 6 episodes. The first 3 are good, and then it starts to fall off a little. So we got Citizens, the first episode, Resistance, the second one, Wait, the second one, Control, Love, and Promise. They start to not get as interesting as they go down. But I feel like they're all very important to see and understand what black people in this country have gone through. Where the hell is the damn cast? Here it is. So we got Will Smith hosting. Mahershala Ali, as I already mentioned, Sterling K. Brown, Bobby Cannavale, Laverne Cox, Whitney Cummings, Daveed Diggs, Hannah Gadsby, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Graham Greene, Diane Guerrero, Helen Hunt, Joshua Jackson, Samuel Jackson, Diane Lane, bunch of people. And they just come out. Pedro Pascal, Randall Park, Willow Smith, and Larry Wilmore, amongst others. Some of them come and like explain it to you as well, and then some other ones are representing famous people, like reciting their poetry, amongst other things. It's very interesting. Amend the Fight for America. I found it very interesting. If only school was this educational, you know what I'm saying? Like, if Will Smith wants to show me anything, I'll sit down and listen. You know what I'm saying? Woo! You know what I'm saying? Will Smith. And he brings his Will Smith flavor. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was saying about the Costa Rica part, he's like, pero por qué? And that was fucking hilarious. I would like more things like these. I'm a stupido. I would like to be educated. I got educated to the point where, I don't know if you guys remember on the pod, where they were trying to do something with Gone with the Wind, take away its Oscars or something. And I was like, oh, that's so stupid. It's because I was stupido even more back then and not understand what the hell the Gone with the Wind actually is. Gone with the Wind is the depiction of the South the way they thought it should be after the civil rights. So the Gone with the Wind is a depiction of what the South thought it was trying to be. So hiding slavery with like, oh no, you know what I'm saying, Africans are here and we gave them a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, without us, what they're gonna do? It's like, no, fool, they're slaves, no seas mamon. So that's basic. I haven't even seen Gone with the Wind. I don't even want to see it anymore. But that part, I was like, okay, I understand. I get it now. I understand. I stupido still, but I understand. It's a very good educational watch. Amend the Fight for America. Can't go wrong with Will Smith. Woo! That wasn't good. Woo! He always does that. Woo! Right? Okay. Moving along. Black History Month. Hell yeah. It's Black History Month is gonna bleed until next month because I didn't start till like 2 weeks in this month because I was stupido. But I watched this movie that came out recently, and is Judas and the Black Messiah. I think this was HBO Max, and it's about Bill O'Neill, who infiltrates the Black Panther Party per FBI agent Mitchell and J. Edgar Hoover, as party chairman Fred Hampton ascends, falling for a fellow revolutionary en route a battle wages for Neil's soul. So Neil is played by our boy Lakeith Stanfield. Fred Hampton is played by our boy Daniel Kaluuya. Jesse Plemons, aka Weirdo Face, is playing Roy Mitchell. We also get a whole other bunch of people, Lil Rel's running around in here. Martin Sheen with a whole bunch of prosthetics is running around as J. Edgar Hoover. So essentially what happens is this is the beginning of the Black Panther Party, and what happened to the founder, Fred Hampton. It goes throughout that whole thing, how they Lakeith Stanfield's character infiltrates it, and it's if they were cops and it was a mafia, it would be those kind of movies, but it's not. It's an activist group who are trying to get equal rights and all that kind of stuff. So we see injustices towards them. This takes place in Chicago in 1968. Daniel Kaluuya's accent, the way he's talking, is very similar to the way Fred Hampton was, because I was like, oh, I want to know if, because it's the way he sounds grasps you. You're like, what? I want to pay attention. And I went back to look at Fred Hampton stuff, and that's exactly how he sounded. So he did a good job. I wouldn't be shocked that there's an Oscar nomination for them around here. He was really good. The score is very funky. It's very good. It was very, 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 very tight. There's this very tension scene where he has to hotwire a car. You felt it. The performances are great. I like Lakeith Stanfield. There might be a Oscar also for him. I might be overselling it, maybe. But the story is very simple. He infiltrates the Black Panther Party, and he's feeding information to the FBI, and that's about it. You know, there's also obviously injustices and stuff that happens through the Black Panther activist group and all that. It's a good movie. It's not the best kind of these movies where we see injustices towards black people. I think Detroit, 1980 something. What's the name of that one? I like that one a lot too. I think Jesse Plemons is in that too. Detroit. I think it's just Detroit. John Boyega, Anthony Mackie, amongst others. That one made me feel more cabrón. I felt that one a little bit more. But this is still a good movie. Judah and the Black Messiah. I recommend it. It's good. The performances are good. I had, again, Stupido. I know nothing about the Black Panther Party. I've heard the name Fred Hampton, but this is another educational one for me. I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's very good. Something that I didn't enjoy, something that I didn't like, something that's not very good is our final movie of the week. I haven't played anything because your boy recently platinumed Silent Scribble Hall. So I'm going to play more shit. Yeah. Next week. But speaking of games, the last movie I watched this week was the Monster Hunter movie starring Mila Jovovich, Tony Jaa, este vato el pinche Hellboys. ¿Cómo se llama ese güey? I didn't pull up the thingy for this one. Sorry. Your boy is not a good host. Este vato el pinche Hellboys. What's his goddamn? Ron Perlman, T.I., Diego Boneta, making good, mija. And I don't recognize anybody else. So yeah. When Lieutenant Artemis and her loyal soldiers are transported to a new world, they engage in a desperate battle for survival against enormous enemies with incredible powers. Feature film based on the video game by Capcom. Bitch, what? Okay, so Anton currently, I think he's still currently playing Monster Hunter World. I have compillas that play this. Bubbles played it. This is made by Tencent. The biggest question is why though? Why you do this? For who? Why? Like, no. There's not enough story to chew on in the Monster Hunter games. It's just go get the monster and level up and kill the monster. That's all you gotta do. You're gonna make a movie out of that, and what you get is this fucking caca. This is caca. I did not like it. Bubbles, I watched it with Bubbles. He said it was not bad. He gave it first he gave it a 6.5, and then after me arguing with him, he gave it a 6. It's like a 5.5 for me, man. 5. It was senseless. There was no reason for it. So, like I read, this team gets sucked in by a storm. Why? I don't know. And they're in this world, and it's Tony Jaa's world. And he also got sucked in by this storm. Where the storm came from, we don't know. Why? What the fuck? But there's a bunch of monsters, right? And for an hour and 10 minutes, they're killing monsters senselessly, just for survive. People die. Fuck it, ni modo. And then you get a training montage between Tony Jaa and Mila Jovovich because they don't, and then they don't speak the same language. So there's a lot of like, oh, hey, that shit. Oh yeah, fire. Look at, oh, chocolate. Okay, great. And then they fight monsters, and then they leave, and then they realize they can't leave, so they come back, and then it's over. I pulled a Felix also. I was dozing off with this shit, and I usually don't fall asleep during movies. Bubbles was like, oh, the weapons are the same weapons, and some of the monsters are good. It's like, okay, but it was just an hour and 10 minutes of Mila running and hitting very blurry monsters. Like, they look okay. There's horror elements. I don't think Monster Hunter is supposed to be scary. There's a part where there's like these cocoons and they're inside a cocoon and it's very scary. I mean, the setting is scary. I wasn't scared, but it's like, okay, it was very horror elements. I don't think Monster Hunter is meant to be horror like that. And the world feels empty. It's just a giant desert, except for this one little island. And then it goes underground. And then it's fucking weird, man. It's cheesy. The acting is bad. The fighting between Mila and Tony Jaa is pretty good. The weapons are cool. You're fighting monsters, which is okay. It's just action for action's sake. The ending was dumb. This is what it looks like to me. It looks like they're like, okay, Capcom, we had so much success with Resident Evil, so let's do another movie with Mila. What's this Monster Hunter? This sounds cool. And then someone explained the plot to Monster Hunter, and then they went off of that while tweaking enough things to make it into a movie. That's what it feels like. It feels like the people who made this never played Monster Hunter. Feel like the people who made this don't care about Monster Hunter. It's just fucking empty to me. I did not like it. I don't know why. Why? One of the super mega Monster Hunter fans that I know had not even seen it. He didn't see it, meaning he didn't really care until I was trying to describe this movie to him, and then he's like, it sounds bad. I better go check it out for myself. Shout outs to Crazy Guy. Why? What are you doing? No, Kaka, get out of here. No way. No, don't, no. And then it's like, why can't fucking video game movies get good? It's because people who make these video game movies don't care about the fucking video game. They really don't. That's what scares me about this Mortal Kombat movie that's coming out. It looks fucking dope. But a trailer can be one thing, and the movie is a whole nother thing. Hopefully the people who made Mortal Kombat know what the fuck they're doing. And from the trailer, it looks like they did. And even from the trailer for Monster Hunter, I could smell this thing was going to be caca. I could smell it. I smelled it all, and got high off the fumes. It's not good. I know, like, if you watched it, let me know what y'all think about that one. Maybe you disagree with me, and if you do, fuck you. Nah, just playing. It's cool. It's cool. You can disagree with me. That's cool. I like that. Are you watching Amend the Fight for America? I feel like everybody should. You guys give a shit about the Real Detective, and are you watching Judas and the Black Messiah? That is what I watched this week. Hopefully I have somebody joining me next week, so I don't have to do this shit by myself. Talking to myself is weird, but I try to get better. All right, I'm your resident stupido enterprises. This has been What You Doing, and don't forget, I love you guys, and always and forever, you do you. Bye, peace. Got a pop and everything for by myself. All right, deuces.